In the space of a single generation, a golden phase of childhood has all but disappeared.
We used to go and we'd come in for dinner and then go right back out again until it was dark.
Oh, no, no, no. That doesn't happen anymore.
The kids now don't go out to play. They go on a play date. Can you imagine? Unstructured and unsupervised play, for the sake of play, has disappeared.
A shorter leash and more structure may spell the end of adventure in childhood, but what does it mean to the kids themselves?
People don't understand the value of play, and that is a very serious problem that will have very serious consequences.
Most of us born before the mid-1980s remember a much different childhood than the one being played out today.
What I remember about play as a boy was freedom and space and being outdoors. You know, I got kicked out of the house in the morning by my mom, and I was out all morning until lunchtime. She'd call out and we'd go back for lunch, you'd go out, you'd come back for dinner, and we spent a lot of our time as children just on our own.
Internationally best-selling author Carl Honoré spent 2 years researching play and the state of modern childhood in Europe, Asia, North and South America.
I think a lot of what's driving our anxiety and even paranoia is just fear feeding on itself, because statistically, the world is a safer place for children now than it's ever been before. I think with all of this sound and fury that surrounds modern childhood now, something has been lost. And that is the simple, magical, soaring pleasure of being a child at play. Because that has been almost edited out of the modern experience. We see free play now and we regard it as either dangerous or we see it as a waste of time because it can't be measured.
This is not nostalgia. This is not a desire for some glorious childhood past. People don't understand the value of play, and that is a very serious problem that will have very serious consequences.
You guys, come on in!
Elaine Rackman has made a career charting the conduct of coaches, spectators, and players in organized sports for kids.
Generally, I think what happens is you see kids that are not engaged. They don't have to think for themselves. I've gone in and done workshops with groups of kids that unless you give them step-by-step instructions on how to do something, they just sit around because they haven't been told what to do. It's like they have no initiative. They don't have that creative impulse. They have no problem-solving skills. They don't even talk to each other. They just sit around and wait for someone else, an adult, to tell them what to do.
Structured play may have its critics, but what is so special about its alternative? Ironically, what we once thought of as wasted time, free, unstructured play, turns out to be nothing less than nature's way of making sure kids learn.
What do kids get out of free time? They learn cooperation, they learn communication, they learn how to be creative problem solvers, they learn conflict resolution.
2 people get to stop, I'll be off first.
Interpersonal skills, social skills, that's emotional intelligence. That's how those skills are learned.
Oh yeah, we'll do 5.
If there are always parents there managing that and guiding that interaction, those kids never learn how to do that themselves. It gives them that freedom to be essentially who they think they are. And we're not judging it. And that's huge.
In a single generation, structured play has eclipsed the centuries-old tradition of free play among kids. But now, a growing body of research on play and child development points to a consensus that structured play on its own is not enough.
Kids learn a lot during play, but as soon as an activity has a definitive goal and structure, and let alone monitoring and supervision, it's not play.
But what happens when kids play freely is hard to measure, and therefore easy to dismiss. Although studies have linked it to everything from literacy and creativity to social conduct and mental health, much of that research, critics argue, is not definitive because it's been based simply on watching kids play.
There is enough evidence there to suggest that if kids are deprived of play, that they may develop later on diseases like anxiety and depression, or that they may become improperly socialized, become aggressive, become psychopaths, violent criminals, and so on. There is a price to pay if we don't have this in our lives anymore.
It's been 6 weeks since a new play culture was introduced to the kids at St. William's School in Norwich.
This is really fun to see what we can do with different things, because these are new things.
Loose parts have high play value. You know, if you give a child a cardboard box with a present in it, what do they get most play out of? The cardboard box. It sparks children's creativity, it sparks their imagination, it makes them think in lots of different directions. So in terms of links to the children's problem-solving skills, then loose parts are the way we've gone to see if we can have an impact on those skills.
I was imaginative anyway, but I think it's helped even more to make me be even more creative and more. I socialised a lot more because you have to share things. And everyone wants some of the equipment because it's all really good equipment and there's not loads of it, so you do learn to play and interact with different people. You learn to negotiate. You learn to negotiate more and compromise.
A couple of us made a friendship wall. We made up a friendship wall on the climbing wall and we put loads of stuff that represented us, as in what type of people we are.
With some new equipment comes risk. There is more chance of increased physical risk and also emotional risk. Children have to be able to try out those things in play. So in the playground, for example, my boy, I've been used to playing football for the last goodness knows how many years, and all of a sudden I'm walking around with a flower pot on my head and a walking stick. Now, can I take that risk? Is that okay to do that? Am I going to be made to look silly? Are my mates going to laugh at me and nobody's going to talk to me forever? Certainly on the playground, we're seeing children with a lot more flexibility, with a lot more inventiveness, a lot more creativeness, and a lot less permission seeking. And that's making a difference in how they actually work together in the classroom.
They've become more independent, being able to work together in a group much more, being able to resolve difficulties when they arise between themselves rather than have to come to the teacher to ask for help.
I think it's helped in the classroom. Everyone's, I wouldn't say smarter, but everyone's a lot more awake, listening and concentrating a lot more.
It's a lot more better by miles.
Building on what happened here, researchers are now linking the benefits of play not just to the classroom, but to the economy as well.
Letting kids play, letting them have that spirit of creativity will really be the secret of innovation and solving problems. And that's what the future of the economy rests on. What you really want are people who know how to take risks and know how to solve problems and aren't afraid to face uncertainty. This is all about uncertainty.
Just think of the infant that's trying to walk. The whole experience is filled mostly with falls. And if the kid never falls, the first time he does is going to be trouble.